Alright, stream should be up and running. We'll see what happens. So I decided to play a little bit of Chrono Trigger, since I couldn't really decide on anything else, and, you know, it's always the classic that I can return to no matter what, so I figured that was the choice. This is the Steam version, which I'm not too big on, but we'll see. I have it set up so that... Oh shit, I guess that didn't save, but I had the controller set up better too. Let me change my gamepad settings. How come the menu... Oh, there we go. Okay. Now I have it set up so it's like a Super Nintendo controller. This is another multi-stream, so I am currently streaming on, let's see, Twitch, YouTube, Stream Me, and DLive. So we'll see how that works out. I'm not sure. Hey, Drum Boy, what's up? Oh, I should probably unmute the Discord just in case. This is sort of just a placeholder game. I want to come up... It's been hard to decide, but I want to decide on a game that I can just play from, you know, from start to finish. And that way it'd be more incentive to stream regularly. Because I want to get into streaming games more again. I haven't really done it in a long time, but I used to do it pretty often. Kind of missed it. And plus it's, you know, it's filler between when I want to do videos and on-point stuff, because that's just not consistent at all, since I don't really, you know, always have content to come up with. Yeah, I've actually, oh boy, I've played through Chrono Trigger many times since I first got it back in 1995, so yeah, this is just another in many playthroughs. Like, I've played through it so many times that I've gotten, you know, the all of the endings more than once. And there's like, I don't know, 12 or 13 of those. It's one of my favorite games, so it's one of those ones that I can always come back to. It's like this, Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy IV. Hey, Blasto. Yeah, so guys, since I'm multi-streaming, I have like one window up for the chat, and it shows everybody's messages, but everybody's messages aren't like intermingled together because they're all separate chat rooms. Yeah, this is the PC port, Bone Zone. I just have it set to, you know, the old school graphics because I really don't like the high resolution ones. I mean, even with the way this is set up, I don't really like it, but this is like one version that I haven't played through to completion, even though I've played the game to completion. Wait, can I just go? Oh, I can't go in here yet. No, I think he tells you can. Yeah. You know, it's good in the sense that you get like the DS content, but it takes a little bit of adjusting if you want it to, you know, if you want to have it set up the way the old game is. For me, I started with either the NES Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy 1, I think. And then like Wizardry and Ultima Exodus, which is one of the worst fucking RPG. I mean, it's not. It's actually a really good game, but like the NES version is just merciless. And there's a patch for it that kind of like, I don't want to say modernizes, but it gets rid of the NES super hard difficulty. So I'd probably should give that a try at some point down the road too. Yeah, see, that's what you really want in life is the girlfriend that plays Chrono Trigger. I mean, for me, this is just one of those games that I can always come back to. And, you know, it makes for an easy stream because if I'm, you know, focusing on the chat and stuff, it's not that bad because I already know where I need to go and I know what I have to do. It's like ingrained into my mind. White Lion. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That one is an interesting looking one. I don't think I've ever played it myself. It's on my to-do list. Hey, White Arb. Okay, let me see. I guess I gotta do this shit. To get your magic, you gotta walk around the damn room like a fool. I probably should have counted. There we go. Oh, Secret of Mana is really good too. Oh, Phantasy Star. That's another one that I could potentially do. On Switch, they had the Sega Ages version of Phantasy Star, and I guess it has like, you know, modern updates to it. So you get like double XP and money, and there's like a mini map, an auto map for the dungeons. So I think that would make it more. I don't want to say tolerable because I don't think it's a bad game, but it would just get rid of some annoyances like grinding and stuff, which nobody really wants to see when you're streaming. Oh shit, I'm probably gonna get annihilated right now. Oh yeah. Damn. Man, the menus look like ass on this. I will say that. I figured I'd get whooped, though. Only JRPGs I can stand are the ones that let you make your own character, at least pick gender. Oh yeah, Dragon Quest III is also an amazing game. I guess I'll fight old Specchio there later, since I already have magic. It's not really important. I think this is the part where I gotta go through the cave where you... yeah, Medina Village. Yeah, I do like the, you know, the bars and whatnot. That's from the DS version, which I also have. Oh, they changed the line. There's like, did you folks just come out of the closet? I wish there was some way to integrate all the chat rooms together. Xenogears. That's one that I always wanted, but I never had the chance to buy it. So I know you could just, you know, play a ROM or whatever, or ISO as they call the disc ones, but I have never played it. So that's another game that I have to get around to at some point. But I already feel like I have a mountain of games that are just on the so-called backlog. I couldn't really get into Earthbound, but Mother 3 I really like a lot. I guess that, you know, that's kind of strange because it's not too much different, but I think I like the story better. That's just me, though. I knew that was hiding somewhere. I think I have a ridiculous amount of cash, so I should be able to, in spite of the super high prices in the market, I should be able to buy them. You gotta beg them to sell you stuff here. So I always thought, I don't know why, because it's just such a simple thing, but I always thought it was really cool that you could fight inside of the, in the town, like in the stores and in the bar and stuff. Probably because it wasn't something that was common in RPGs at this time, I guess, maybe. Yeah, this is the Steam version. I could definitely understand that when it comes to Earthbound. That was one of those games where it's like, I couldn't find it when I was younger. So oddly enough, I can afford this stuff. Might as well take advantage. Game I was playing on Steam. So, that A-Sprite thing, that is actually a software for pixel art. I was just kind of messing around with it. It's really cool though, for anybody that is into that. I'm not really, I'm a total beginner, but I have been having some fun with it the past few days. It was like $11 and it has so many options. As far, it's like you don't need Photoshop pretty much. It has everything in there that you could want to do pixel art. But you did fight in 2 ends in Final Fantasy II. Oh yeah, that's right. That is right. You did. I remember that. I don't really want to stay at the end, but I want to fight. And it probably looks like I have a ton of hours invested into that program, that software now, because I just left it running even when I walked away from the PC, so it probably looked like I was literally on it all day. Yeah, there's so many good... I feel like there's so many interesting moments in that game. Oh shit, I guess I should go here just to see it. Even though I already know, you know, what's here. They're just chanting at the statue. Can't really do anything. Out of my way, damn it. Hey, Punished, how's it going? You know, they changed the world map sprites, though. They look a lot different. Bigger. Definitely bigger. Even when you switch back to the old school graphics. I think in Xenogears there's even a Chrono Trigger reference, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I don't need to buy it, but I'll just buy it anyway. It's the Steam version of Chrono Trigger. So it's actually a port of... it was like a port of the ISO version, but then they fucked it up, so they had to go through and, you know, give it like 4 or 5 updates. So now you can switch back to the old school graphics. It has all the DS content, I believe. Lost Odyssey. That one, it sounds familiar, but I'm not sure I've played it. What is it for? Yeah, I'll turn it up just a little bit. I can never figure out like if the audio level is too high. How's that? Let me know. Yeah, the Final Fantasy 5 and 6 ISO or iOS versions. I'm saying ISO because of the damn PlayStation ROMs. But yeah, the iOS versions for those are the sprites are just so ugly. They really could have, done so much better, and they chose to go like, I don't know. It's almost like what you would expect out of an RPG Maker game or something. It's really strange. I don't know what they were thinking. Yeah, this is one of my favorite soundtracks for sure. I'm glad to see we have a lot of people with good taste around here, that's for sure. Hey, Casimir. Yeah, it's not the Super Nintendo version. It's the Steam version, so it's... The menus are kind of a mix between the DS and the iOS version, even when you switch back to the old school graphics. That's the one part that I'm still not really happy with, but, it's minor. It's just a menu. I can live with it, I guess. If you have to, Yeah, I actually own the DS version. I played that to completion. I don't think I ever really finished all of the extra content, though. I don't know. I don't think it was as interesting as it could have been. Am I going the wrong way? Guess we'll find out soon enough. Oh, it's a treasure box. Tangle Deeps. Yeah, I think I saw that. Is it good? Is it one of those super high difficulty ones, though? I have to admit, I don't really have the patience for that kind of stuff anymore, I guess. Like, some challenge is obviously good, but when it gets to, ridiculous levels. I think there were 13 endings if you include the just losing to the last boss ending. I don't think I'm gonna go through all of them. I mean, I have in the past. I told the story before, but I don't even remember when I told it last. But I have a copy of the Super NES cartridge, and it's the one I've had since the game came out in 1995. And I replayed the game, time after time using the same save file from like 1995 to I think like 2008. And so, as you can imagine, you do New Game Plus that many times, and you have like an insane amount of items hoarded and shit like that. So eventually what happened was, I don't know, the game glitched or something, and I lost like a 13-year-old save file. It was pretty terrible. It's painful. All of those hours just lost. Lost to the winds of time. What is this gay game? Are you serious, Bobby? Are you serious? You're gonna have a lot of people yelling at you for that one. You think I'm braving ruin? That's interesting. I have not heard that before. Huh. Well, I mean, that is a theory. I guess anything's possible, right? I think we should leave it up to mystery, though. I've played very little of Chrono Cross, and I didn't like it. My main problem was, like, on a game, you know, as a standalone game, it would have been alright, but as a follow-up to this, it just couldn't live up to it. And, I mean, for me, that's mostly because, you know, they didn't have the same exact team working on it. Like, the soundtrack is good because they had the same composer, but they really lost the plot, like, with the, well, first of all, with the crazy-ass plot, and then second, with, what was I gonna say? The weird character designs and stuff. If I played it and it wasn't a sequel to Chrono Trigger, then I'd be like, okay, this isn't a bad RPG. Not my favorite, but it's acceptable. But then when you think of it as the sequel to this, then I'm like, oh, no, come on. Guys, why didn't you just stop? Friend of the Killstream and official Killstream canon. Alright, well, I guess I can take that. Chrono Trigger is also gay. Damn it. Are you just one of those, like, RPGs are gay guys? I used to know a lot of those back in the school, my elementary and middle school days. Hey, Spooky, what's up? Are you still having fun accusing random voice actors and their Twitter followers of sexual misconduct on Twitter? Has everybody heard about that by now? The whole Vic Mignogna thing? I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but I think that's how it is. So basically, I don't know, everybody's coming out of the woodwork saying that he's, I guess, well, I don't know what the term they're using is, but pretty much they're treating him like he's a rapist, but really all that I can tell as far as he has done is show affection to his fans, you know, like hugs and maybe a kiss on the cheek or putting his arm around him, stuff like that. And the odd thing is like, if you look into most of these accusations, I mean, first of all, the photo proof does not line up with what they're saying, and they go on and on about like, oh, this has been in the industry and at cons for years, and yet nobody has said anything until now, and now they want to act like they're heroes for calling him out. It's like, I just don't understand how you can say this stuff has been going on for that long, and you knew about it, and you stood by and did nothing. And now somehow you are morally superior for suddenly deciding to call it out many years later. But honestly, it doesn't look like anything to me. It looks like a whole lot of nothing. Even if you want to argue that some of the fans that, you know, he hugged or whatever were uncomfortable with that, like, where is their sense of personal agency? Why didn't they just say, you know, hey, I like you or whatever, but I don't want to have a photo with a hug or whatever. Why can't we just pose for a photo normally? What his reasoning was, and I think it kind of makes sense, was basically just that, you know, you get to a point where so many people are very happy to meet you and see you, and, you know, they request these things, and it gets to a point where you just don't really think about it, and it becomes like second nature, and you think everybody you meet is kind of into the same kind of thing. And he actually apologized, which I mean, he seems like he genuinely doesn't want to, hurt anybody's feelings or whatever, but I feel like it's a mistake just because, like since when do you have to apologize just for a very general showing of affection towards people. It's weird. And like I said, even if you want to argue some people were uncomfortable with it, they're treating him like he was a convicted rapist instead of just, somebody had got a hug that they didn't want. The whole thing is crazy. Anime is everything gay? Can you just help me out and like tell me what's not gay, and I'll make a list and I'll try very hard to follow it. I mean, some definitely is. I'm not gonna argue with you there, but not all. Hashtag not all. Come on. I feel like it's really difficult for me to watch my HP and stuff just because how small the damn menu is. I don't remember it being like that. I have never played Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter, but I have played Breath of Fire 2 and 3. Honestly, I heard Dragon Quarter was the worst one, but I guess that's an
Dragon Quarter is the best one. That's the only Breath of Fire you need to play.
Well, somebody said it was a hidden gem. I've never heard that take. Did I just die? Yes, I did. What the fuck? I think I need to pay more attention. Huh. Text is smaller. Yeah, I don't really like it. I don't like how small it is. That was kind of lame. I don't think I'm low level either. I just kind of wasn't paying attention. See, I heard there was something weird when it came to what, like saving or something? Like if you got a game over, you had to start over or some shit like that? Am I mistaken? I don't know. So, Capcom did Breath of Fire 6, but it was a mobile game, which is really sad because I actually liked the promotional artwork that I saw for it. I'm just not a fan of when they take a series that has been like on console or PC and they're just like, oh yeah, well this next installment's just going to be a mobile version. Screw that, man. Okay, I guess it's not all bad. You like some good games. Link or Mega Man, those are some good ones. I guess it depends on which ones, but the NES Mega Man games, original Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past is probably my favorite one. I did a stream of that one already, though. I think I finished 2 streams.
No Ocarina of Time?
That was actually like where I started to lose interest. I know that's, a big no-no for a lot of people, but I just never got into when it went 3D.
Well, they still have some 2D ones after the fact.
Yeah, they do. Golden Sun is another one of those games on my to-do list. I have not played it.
I've already made one Golden Sun reference today, so...
Yeah, that's odd to hear it come up twice in a day. It's usually not something I hear about very often at all. Really? I don't think... you don't like 2D Zeldas. That's interesting. So, like, what generation... Like, what was the first Zelda game you played? Usually if there's, like, a generational gap, that's part of the reason behind that. Like, I'm perfectly willing to admit that maybe if I grew up with the other Zelda games that, maybe I'd be more into them. Oh, come on. Oh, you didn't like Link to the Past. That's sad. When does this guy end this? Okay, there we go. I was about to say, can I attack now? Jeez. Yeah, I mean, I've heard all of them are good to varying degrees. I don't think I've really ever heard someone like, oh, I hate that one. I'm sure they're out there, but it's not something I hear people complain about very often. Didn't the guy who made Golden Sun die recently? I'm not sure.
I thought it was two brothers that made Golden Sun.
Huh. I think I should be able to get some free armor if I go here. Maybe. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Damn it. Come on, Dad. Oh, is there ever going to be a Golden Sun 4? I generally don't like it when things end on cliffhangers, so that kind of sucks if that's the way it went. Unfortunately, the armor that I have way outclasses the vest, which sucks because +2 speed is really good for her. Will there ever be another good Final Fantasy game? Oh, that is a tough one. I didn't play 15. I heard a lot of people say it wasn't that bad. I mean, it didn't look like my preferred style of Final Fantasy. But I don't know. I can't even imagine what 16 is going to be like if they ever get around to that. They can still make classic Final Fantasy games. Like Final Fantasy Dimensions for mobile, sadly. I liked that one quite a bit. I mean, the one thing I didn't like about it was playing it on mobile. But if they ported that over to Steam or something, I would give that another chance because it's an old school style one. Did I visit this guy? I think I saved him. Oh no, that's the wrong store. It's the market? Here we go. I get free shit. Although I think I have too many items, maybe? I don't remember what he gives me. 10 mid-ethers. Oh, okay, maybe I didn't have any of those. Yeah, not going to JRPG. Yeah, that's... The cell phone stuff for that is not... It's just not ideal. I like to hold a controller. Favorite underrated RPG? Huh. That is a good
Arc the
question.
Lad.
Yeah, that's one take. I don't know. What would I consider even? I guess I'm not sure what's considered underrated anymore. Does Saga Frontier count?
Yes.
I guess I'd probably pick that. Or, I mean, maybe like Breath of Fire 3, but I don't. I thought that was generally liked. It's just not. It doesn't feel like it's super popular.
I think it was relative to the series. I mean, most people would say Breath of Fire 2 was the best in the series, which I don't agree with. But that also, I think that one came out kind of later in the Super NES life cycle, so I think people might have had better access to 3 than 2, but most people say 2 is the best in the series.
I'm sure there's a game that I really liked that I'm forgetting, but it's just because I've played so many and my failing memory. I'd have to like look through my collection and stuff to really get a good answer for that. But off the top of my head, probably Saga Frontier. I feel like there's a lot of good RPGs on PSP that don't really get, talked about.
Growlancer, that would be one.
Yep. I think I have to go back to the Middle Ages. Right? I don't have a collection of porn RPGs. Oh, there's I guess there's Lunar. I like 2 the best.
I think most people might like the first better, but I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't really. I mean, I know it was pretty popular among people that actually like know about it, but it does seem like the first one is favored. I don't know. I felt like I liked the party members in the second one better. Not that the first one is bad or anything, but their backstories and stuff, I thought they were interesting.
I do like the characters in the second one more than the first one.
How many games do you get like alcoholic priests and come on that gamble?
Yeah, and our womanizers.
There we go.
Yeah. My wife still says happy hour the way that he says it.
And don't forget Lady Luck Be Kind. If I ever have to hear that sound clip again, oh.
I heard yeah baby yeah a lot.
I forgot which one that is.
I can't even remember now. It's been a while, and I'm debating whether or not I want to go back to those, because those can be kind of a grind, and I need my fast forwarding emulator feature.
What studio made Lunar? Isn't it like Game Arts or something?
Yeah, Game Arts. Yeah. So Grandia, I guess, would be on that list too. They made that.
That's another one I have to play.
I had the first one, and then my CD got broke before I could rip it to my computer, so I have to get another version again. I did play the second one for a while, but it was the PS2 version, and it was my brother's, so more than likely we'll have to get the Dreamcast version, since that's what I have. And
well, Working Designs was just the publisher for Lunar, right?
Yeah, they were just publisher.
Have I played the new? Yeah, I've played the new Dragon Quest. I haven't played enough of it to really give like a solid opinion. I mean, I like it, but I think I would have liked the 3DS version of it better, just because the graphical differences. So
I'm trying to remember how it plays right now, because I'm actually playing the ninth one right now. and I'm
Oh,
trying
that
to
one I like
remember.
a lot.
I'm trying to remember. Did 11 have all of that, where it had like the open field and when you're in a battle and then everybody? Because I know the PS4 version does that, but
Yeah, but Working Designs went under, right?
yeah, and then they became some other company. He started some other company, and they do basically the same thing.
Ah,
I believe that's how Arc the Lad ended up on PSN. It was because they bought the rights to the game that their previous company had the rights to, and then published it on PSN.
kind of sucks having to do it over again, but I guess that's one way to get it out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dragon
but I
Quest
want.
Nine. I don't know if it was just the timing or what, but that was one that I picked it up and I feel like I went through it. You know, it's a long game, but I feel like I stuck with it all the way till the end rather quickly.
Yeah, what I remember that's the way that it felt. With 11 though, I just kept going until I pretty much got everything. I didn't do all the quests because I didn't have time, but I at least got to the true ending um, before I stopped playing the game.
Yeah, I think my issue is just the platform of choice that I stuck with. Um,
Yeah,
I
I
can't
can't.
really say
I
why that
can't.
is, but it's just I when it comes to like modern RPGs and the world feels very open, but there's nothing to do with that space. It I don't know, it feels like it just artificially inflates my exploration time.
Yeah, and the fact that they had the whole 2D thing on the 3DS version, it cuts down on a lot of that.
Yeah, I kind of wish that they had that feature. I mean, I get that they tried to make like a gimmick for, you know, to appeal for 3DS, but I just feel kind of cheated.
Maybe the Switch version will have it, but I do feel that the 3DS version has more features to it than PS4.
Wait, the hero appeared. Then how come I can't get across the Xenon Bridge?
Oh, but we're forgetting the true underrated RPG,
Uh
Chrono Cross.
oh. I talked about that a little bit before. I don't know if you heard. Have I played Final Fantasy 13? I have not, but I watched a friend play some of it, and it just didn't interest me. Um, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like Final Fantasy anymore. Maybe if it was a different game, like maybe if the title didn't have the Final Fantasy name, maybe I would feel a little bit differently. But it's like it carries that I don't know, legacy or whatever, and so it just doesn't work for me. We need more foodstuffs. Why is this knight talking like one of those scammers that ripped off Chris? Alright. I thought I just went to the damn castle and talked to the chef, but apparently I did not trigger whatever it is that I need to in order to get the jerky.
You did not Chrono Trigger anyone.
Oh. Let's help the king. Provisions for Xenon. There we go. Alright, now it's playing out. I remember that photo that was going around where there's like it's a copy of Final Fantasy 13 for sale on like a GameStop shelf, and it has like a I don't know, like a love letter written on it or something. So it's like, oh, you know, that couple broke up. I like to imagine it's because of receiving Final Fantasy 13 as a gift.
Well, the person that let us borrow his copy of Final Fantasy 13 venture to say not on the best of terms with that person.
Ah,
So so I could see that. Somebody sends a love letter to presumably their girlfriend because no man wants to play Final Fantasy 13, and then she plays it and she's like, "Wow, this is what you think of me? This relationship's over."
all right. Now we've got some people wiped out and saved by the foodstuffs. I'll have to try to find that later, man, and I'll post it on Twitter or something. I have not heard that EA is going to lay a lot of people off.
What a surprise!
Maybe we could tell them to learn to journalism. I got Final Fantasy 13 from an ex-boyfriend of mine. That's hilarious. What was up with that, with later Final Fantasy games naming their characters after weather phenomena? Like, what? Lightning, snow, squall, cloud. Come on now.
Yeah, I think the only one that wasn't was Zidane, because in Final Fantasy X, I think Titus is it's like an Ainu word or something, and I think it means cloud, sky, or some dumb thing like that.
Watch out for Fat Piccolo.
Who's Fat Piccolo supposed to be?
I remember the good old days when Scratch would have the retort on his channel on YouTube. Well,
yeah, I remember July 2018 too. Wait, you had it in August too, right? Because
yeah, there were two separate times that it happened.
Yeah, one was what, like April, May, and then
I think so.
July, August. But you can't do that. You remember that one guy on Twitter who was like, "Oh, I see you follow Ralph and other alt-right Nazis. I see what you're all about."
Fishing for RTs or something.
The most meaningful thing in the world.
Yes, I can't live without him. Every day that goes by, if I don't get a retweet, the unimaginable pain. The Monday Mad Assassination happened on your channel. Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was like one of the unexpected highlights of my channel history that's not really my history, but it's still funny. Yeah, I mean, I guess Final Fantasy character names in general are a little bit unusual.
Well, Tina wasn't unusual.
That's true.
Cecil's not that unusual.
I guess not many people, well, I mean, maybe not many people know that her name is actually that.
Furion or Frionel or whatever.
I mean, I guess in
weird.
Japan that's unusual. So I can understand why for the US they would go with Terra in that spelling.
Yeah. But then it's like, well, that's just a word that means earth, so not that original either, but yeah, Cloud was a weird one and never I have heard somebody who's named Eris, but not Aerith.
That is interesting. As long as you haven't met any Sephiroths.
No, you would have to put the parentheses on that one if I did.
There we go.
Given the, but let's see, who was an 8? Yeah, I've never heard of a Quistis or Renoa, or heard of an Irvine. An Irving. But yeah, all those names are unusual and dumb.
Yep, I played Octopath. I completed it. The only thing I haven't done is the so-called hidden dungeon, but I beat everybody's story. I have to do. I'm not looking forward to it, but I guess in order to do that, I have to do a bunch of grinding, and yeah.
Yeah, like the bonus dungeon in Dragon Quest VI. You might as well.
I mean, I probably should do it just because, you know, you get the so-called true ending, because it kind of ties together, not necessarily the individual stories, but the recurring mention of the, I forgot what he was called exactly, but some kind of god.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess Legend of Mana was one that people didn't like much, but kind of revisiting it, it's not that bad.
Oh, I like that one all right. I have it. Do I have a copy of that? I'm not sure if I have a copy of that. I might. I know at the very least I have the ISO.
Well, remember how you said you had a Chrono Trigger save that you had going for years?
Yeah, I actually just, before you came on, I just told that story because people were asking about it.
Well, you know how women can be, right? So I have my loving wife, while I was playing through the game, just totally decided to save over my Legend of Mana save, and so all that hard work that I put into it was completely gone. So so vote up marriage, guys. That's a big problem.
I just realized whenever Sargon said, "Have you even read Locke?" he was talking about Final Fantasy III. Yeah, he was talking about the official guide to treasure hunting by Locke.
You know, it was actually funny because when I was 10 when I played that game, so I looked up that spelling because I was like, and I recognized that from somewhere, and that actually got me interested back then into John Locke, because the Japanese version, it's Locke as in door lock. That's
right.
How his name is spelled.
Oh, you bastard! Okay, why can't I enter a command at that point? Like, that's really obnoxious. Hello? Okay, that's how we're gonna do it. I don't remember the game being that way. Like, while the enemy attack is on the screen, I apparently can't enter the command or use an item.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Well, it's definitely getting me killed because he just keeps repeating the same attack, and I can't move. I don't understand if that's a glitch or what, because it's not letting me act. And I'm actually gonna die.
That's something that never happened.
Alright, that's bullshit. I would have been fine if I could use items, but he just keeps repeating the same attack.
It's like when you play somebody in a fighting game and all they do is block.
Yeah. And then, you know, you get pinned in the corner and they just do the leg sweep.
Yeah. Or when you're playing
when
you're playing multiplayer first-person shooter and you just have one guy that camps with a sniper rifle.
Best player ever. Did he just kill him? I think he did. Bastard. And she's dead too. Why did I bother healing again? Somebody want to tell me that? Okay, focus on Luca. Come on.
Focus on the family.
Yeah, I don't remember that being an issue. I think it's either a bug that they didn't address or some stupid iOS bullshit.
It could be both.
Yeah, either way. It's screwing me over. Okay. Here we go. Y2K, the greatest RPG ever. That's the one with the guy that did like the self-insert character, right? And he looks like he lives on soy lattes.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I got lots of Soylent for to give away. Just let me know if you want some.
Oh, fire healed him, damn. And she's dead again. This is getting ridiculous.
Man, the things that people do when they're angry in Japanese RPGs. I'm a ghost and I'm angry, so I'm gonna possess a Tess Holiday here and destroy you guys.
Sounds about right. Alright, I need to do something different. Everything heals him. Wait, you actually want Soylent? I don't think you know what you're asking for.
He just wants to take a picture where he has his mouth wide open.
That was actually our good friend Spooky. I guess it's alright for a woman to have Soylent.
Yeah, that my wife was saying something about that. I'm like, I don't really think you need soy for what you're talking about.
I have not played the Resident Evil 2 remake, so I can't speak to its quality.
Have you even played the original?
Very, very little. Mostly I just watched my friend play it way back in the PS1 days.
Well, you know, as long as it doesn't have tank controls in the remake, I'm good.
I imagine it probably doesn't. The first one that they remade didn't. So it would be strange if they decided to take that step back.
Well, you know, once upon a time there was this video game series called Parasite Eve, and the very first game didn't have tank controls, and then the second one did.
Yeah, I guess that. I guess we have some fans of tank controls in the chat here.
Yeah, there's a Game Facts thread about how you're a communist if you don't like tank controls.
All right, then.
I had some very young children ask me what are tank controls, and I had to have a discussion about the horrible ways of playing 3D games in the 90s.
All right, I gotta get this old man to ask me about the Naga.
Your pronouns?
Bromide. Oh, here we go. He wants the Naga et bromide.
Or whatever it's called in the Japanese version. Some French sounding word, I can't remember.
I imagine it's just a nude photo of them.
Oh, and well, I know you never actually see it, so I guess you don't know.
Yeah, I forgot what the item description says if you go to the rare items or key items section. And now that I gave it away, I can't read it. Usually, I don't know, sometimes that old guy doesn't speak up right away and you kind of have to walk back and forth in there and talk to all the different NPCs. And...
Do they talk about how the orange man is bad?
Surprisingly, no.
Now it's gonna kill me because I don't remember what the Naga-ets are called in the Japanese version.
all that for just 2 points of...
According to Chronopedia, bromide is a Japanese term for pin-up photography of a celebrity. The implication is that the photograph is erotic.
There we go. He likes his snake women.
Don't we all?
Tank controls enhance horror games and some adventure games.
Yes, that's the argument that I saw in GameFAQs.
Well, okay, I mean, it's fair if you think that, but I'm curious, like, what the rationale is. Because I feel like if it's just like, oh, it kind of, slows your reaction or whatever.
I've never heard a good explanation of that. I've heard people say that, but I never look at convoluted gameplay as a feature. Like, if people were to play the original Suikoden and then play the second one, most of the time people aren't going to say, well, the fact that you have to manually move your items around is a feature versus how they handle it in the second one. I mean, you can make that argument that, well, the first one, you have to manage your inventory better, and that's true, but I don't look at that limitation as a feature. I just look at it as a limitation.
Tank controllers, tank controls are for boomers. What became of your YouTube channel? Oh, it's still there. I actually put out a video. How long ago was that now? A week?
Yeah.
I put out a video a week ago. I post mostly, videos once in a great while, and the streams whenever I get around to them. But I've been pretty quiet on YouTube and streaming sites, I guess. Oh, I want to fight the new. To find him first. Yeah, he's not here. Takes a couple of tries, I guess, to get him to show up.
Were you in the forest?
Slowing your reaction or making certain situations less controllable is, in fact, an enhancement to how a horror game works. I mean, I guess, but I feel like...
there have been horror games that precede that don't have that, and they capture that very well.
Well, what I mean is, like, if your gameplay element is, like, purposely obstructing mobility, then I can't really get behind it. I mean, I guess if people like it, they like it, but I just, I don't know. It's just not for me, I guess.
I honestly don't believe that is why they implemented those controls back then.
I would be curious to, like, hear in an interview or something if that, has anything to do with it. Oh, damn it, he got away.
I mean, I always figured that one piece of it was that there were no analog sticks, so although you could do it that way, they didn't do it that way for whatever reason. I don't know. But the fact that they had horror games that precede that didn't do that, and they had the same kind of controls, it just tells me more that it was an artifact of the time where you had 3D gaming, but you didn't have...
It's for fixed angle games, not making gameplay more difficult.
Not making gameplay what?
It's for fixed angle games, not making gameplay more difficult. I mean, maybe the intention is not difficulty, but it...
That's about the only...
No, I'm looking at... But I'm looking... Okay, so listen, I'm using Restream.io, right? And they have a chat app, and it shows all of the chat rooms mixed together. So I'm seeing YouTube, I'm seeing Stream Me, I'm seeing Twitch, I'm seeing everybody, guys. It's just you guys can't see each other, which is, I guess unfortunate, but...
You can't see me. I mean, they also had pre-rendered backgrounds, and I don't know if anybody's going to be saying that pre-rendered backgrounds are better than fully rendered 3D backgrounds. Like I said, I think that was more of just a consequence of the age, where the main reason they had fixed angle shots, at least on PS1, is because they had pre-rendered backgrounds in a lot of games. That was what the Final Fantasy series did, so that they allegedly could have better character models, but still have decent 3D backgrounds. Because the one game I remember where they had 3D backgrounds was what, Xenogears, and those backgrounds don't look like Parasite Eve or Final Fantasy or anything like that. But they were they weren't fixed angles, so you could rotate in Xenogears all you wanted, just like in Dragon Quest 7 and the PS1 remake of 4 were the same way. They had 3D backgrounds that you could rotate 360 degrees most of the time. Sometimes they arbitrarily restricted you. I don't know why, but they did.
Ooh, okay, there's one. Worst RPG bought, or JRPG, I guess. I don't know if it matters either way, but yeah, he specifically said JRPG. Wow. That is a good one. I'll have to think about it. I could tell you the worst RPG I own. Dungeon Magic for the NES, but I don't... Is it Japanese? Yeah, it might be. Taito, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're talking about that. That's another thing that we don't see much anymore. That first person 2D thing, that was... I don't know anybody that liked that. That's why most people hated Friday the 13th for the NES. I mean,
see, I wouldn't... I don't know. I really tried with that game. I wouldn't hate it if it felt like you had any kind of control over what the hell happens in battle. It's like one of those situations where you can't dodge attacks. I mean, if the enemy is in front of you, and that's the only way you can hit the enemy, you get hit. And there's nothing you can do about it. And since the enemy is almost always more powerful, you shit the bed rather quickly, and then you have to start all over again.
Dungeon Magic?
Yeah, it's terrible. If you guys have no idea what it is, definitely look it up. It's cancer of the highest order. And I would say not only is that like my worst RPG, but that's probably one of the worst games I own. I mean, yeah, it is very early. There is that excuse, I guess. Let's see. Later down the line, I don't know. I was pretty selective about, games that I purchased back then because, funds were limited. So I feel like I had a pretty good handle of what I did and didn't want. So I didn't end up with, thankfully I didn't end up with too many situations of, oh, this game I bought is a complete pile of shit.
Yeah, ever since first grade, I had to buy my own games with my own money. So I tended not to buy things that I thought were bad. But I think the closest thing to a bad game I ever had was, which is bad, was Deadly Towers on the NES, and I did buy that.
I heard that one's pretty bad.
Now, as for games that I would say I don't like, or games that I have that I don't like, a lot of the problem I face is that they were decent up into a point, and then something happens that just
like ruins
has
the
me
whole
go
thing.
up. Yeah, like Chrono Cross is an excellent example. The ending to Suikoden 2 is the true ending, or the best ending is definitely an example of that. Anyway, I'm trying to remember another thing that I played that I saw that I got to a certain point and I just said, this is asinine.
I was looking over at the chat and I screwed up and lost the new again. Complaining about old styles of control is like complaining about movies shot in black and white versus color.
No.
I mean, I kind of disagree with the analogy, to be honest, but I mean, like, I get the logic that you're going with, but it's kind of two different things. Because, I mean, if you watch a movie in black and white or a movie in color, okay, somebody could say it's ruining their enjoyment, but you're still sitting in a chair looking at a screen. When it comes to like a game, and you have to interact with the controls in order to advance the gameplay. Controls could obviously make or break that scenario.
And
well, of course you think it's a spot-on analogy. You came up with
it. There's also the other implication that we thought it was good then and we think it's bad now. No, that's not really the case. I thought it was bad then and I think it's bad now. Like I think a better analogy would be something like camera angles or lighting effects that they had to do in black and white movies versus color movies, but that's still stylistic, where this was more, and that was based out of the necessity of, hey, it's black and white. But I feel my complaint would be more, you're trying to use black and white technique or techniques that are better for black and white movies than on color movies. To me, that doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, it happened then and I didn't like it then, but we don't have those limitations, so we don't need to use them anymore.
Let's see. Asked because I got PS2 on launch day. Waited all night with my big brother at home 4 hours. Got one game and it was like, gotta play. I bought Orphan. It was a launch title and the worst game ever. Okay, so PS2, you just reminded me of a really bad game. Dragon Ball Z Sagas. Terrible.
Was that a PS2 game?
Making the same stylistic point about tank controls enhancing horror. How do you not get that? I don't know. Apparently we're retarded.
Okay.
No need to be rude, kind sir.
And I will take the opinion of some random person on the internet with the smallest grain of salt, but no. I don't agree with you on tank controls, and
I mean, honestly, I didn't like it back then. That's that's just the way I felt about it. And you know what? Maybe it's because that wasn't the style of game like that what I was used to or whatever, and it just never sat with me. But it's not something where it's like I looked back. It's something that was cool then, and I look back on it now, and I'm like, actually, that was cancer. It's like, no, I never really got into it.
And it's all subjective anyway. Like, we can argue till we're blue in the face, but it didn't enhance the horror aspect for me. And so if you have a problem with that, you got to get over it, because it didn't enhance anything for me. If you want to stick to tank controls, by all means, but it didn't do it for me. So you can be blue in the face all you want, but it didn't do it for me.
See, isn't life grand? Instead of getting like heated about politics, people can just like piss on each other over preferences in video games. The stuff that really matters.
That's how it used to be. Until what, 2015, 2016?
Brad, you gotta calm down, buddy. It's not that serious.
Find a girlfriend or something to do, because I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna probably do something. I'm gonna go to my wife and have sex or something. I'm gonna forget all about tank controls.
How did I not give you, how did we fuck me? How did we not give you a reply? I'm out. Are you seriously leaving?
No, so you
Holy
didn't.
fuck.
We didn't give a reply that says yes. I think tank controls are great.
No, I'm just saying.
There's never going to be a good answer, because the decision is already, well, this is what I like, and if you don't like it, then you're a communist. So,
guys,
that's why I say I don't care.
Hold up a sec. Okay, I understand what you're saying there, where it's fine it didn't do it for you, but you're talking like they're objectively bad. Okay, but I don't see how saying it enhances the horror is like an argument that it's objectively good. It's like, isn't that still your opinion that it enhanced the horror for you? I don't think everybody, I don't know. I don't think that's the consensus. I don't know. I just didn't think it was that big of a deal, but apparently it's serious stuff.
It's like that GameFAQs thread I saw.
I think that's why he got mad. But wasn't he asserting the same thing? Like, I don't really care that he got mad. It's just like, whatever, dude. But I don't know. I don't think it's something worth getting mad over, is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's something in a video game.
I think I'm just trying to say I think I've shared far more contentious opinions. Okay, so why did that motherfucker run away? I don't think it enhances horror. I just like tank. This is a different person. I just like tank controls. My argument is that it's necessary for fixed angles. Just saying. All right. I mean, that's fair enough, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't agree because I just gave Parasite Eve as an example that had fixed angles and they didn't use tank controls, and that was in the era when tank controls were popular. But the only reason that they introduced tank controls in the second one, I think, is more due to the fact that they hired a bunch of people from Capcom who worked on Resident Evil 2, and they basically said, well, Resident Evil 2
modeled it after because it's popular.
Yeah, Resident Evil 2 was super popular, so let's make a carbon copy of that. And that's why I think, okay, that doesn't really work, because you started off the game doing this. Now, one of the problems with the fact that Parasite Eve wasn't a tank control and it was free roaming is that Aya moved slow. It doesn't make any sense that somebody is jogging and moving at a snail's pace. That didn't make any sense to me. But the fact of the matter is that they had that, and they were using that as kind of a demo for Final Fantasy VIII. They wanted to see if they could have that kind of 3D modeling and fixed angle shots. And
I mean, is anybody not seeing the ultimate irony that he was like standing behind the I have reason on my side, and he just like blew up and left?
Oh wait, that reminds me, we didn't use the "you seem angry" line that everybody uses whenever they think they're on that side of logic.
I don't know. I don't even know if I know who that person was. Like, not that it matters. It's just interesting.
Well, they didn't use it in Sweet Home, so not all horror games. I don't think they used it in whichever Aliens game that came out in 2013.
I missed it, but Skull Kid Productions said everyone is wrong about everything and everything is gay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Works for me. Okay, I wanted to have like one battle with this guy, but apparently he has it in his mind to just avoid me at all costs. I tried to get him. Oh, that prick. There we go, finally.
Although now I'm just picturing in my head some 17-year-old or maybe 30-year-old, who knows, just sitting there just really heated in his living room or something, or talking to his imaginary friend about how he can't.
I mean, you could always take to Twitter, so there's that.
Yeah, okay, then go to Twitter or go to Discord or wherever and talk about, I can't believe that people have different preferences.
Hashtag fuck these guys. Went to this gaming stream, and they totally didn't like the same stuff I did, so I was out of there.
I told them if they weren't going to be logical, then I was going to leave. I can't think of any bad game. The other game I was thinking of that was, I'll say probably isn't good, but I'd like, but it did definitely have some things that drove me up the wall, is Seventh Saga. That stupid ending. It's always the endings with these games.
Oh, yeah, the difficulty aspect was another wonderful. They just seem very unbalanced, I guess, what I would say.
Well, my opinion on that is that they didn't need to balance it. So they were trying to fix what wasn't broken. And that's why the North American version was unbalanced, because they tried to fix something that wasn't broken, and then they're like, oh crap, we forgot to balance out the game, so we just made it extra hard. Whereas if you play the Japanese version, it doesn't have that difficulty. And I'm just wondering, why was this necessary? This could have been more playable if you didn't do it, but you did it, and so now everybody looks at it as that really hard game that you work real hard and grind to beat and then you get this very unrewarding ending.
There we go. Got him. Finally.
I mean, I used to think Dragon Quest games had a horrible grind, but that game.
All right, now that I beat one of them, I can move on with life. But first, I need to take a streamer bathroom break, so I will be back momentarily. Give me a couple minutes. Listen to the wonderful sounds of Chrono Trigger music. Come on, guys, is it really dead air if there's music? You can't have dead air with music. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to go to that other mountain. Wait, why are we banning people?
Speaking of banning and dead air, what's everybody think about wrestling today?
Oh, did I tell you it's now Tonka Radio?
I didn't know that.
Ah, well, he's upgraded.
Just miserable.
And apparently, like, thinks he's part of some major troll operation now because he put up this stream last night that was like, it was titled Answering Questions, and it was only 10 minutes long or something like that, 10, 15 minutes long. And in the middle of it, there was some random video that was supposedly him showing up at a wrestling show last night and attacking some random wrestler and then getting, like, pulled out by security. But the video is recorded on a phone that looks like it came from when phones first had the option to record video.
Back when we had the Motorola Razr?
Yeah, it's like super grainy. You can barely make the guy out. So I don't know. Even if it is him, how is that like a big own to the audience? How does that make up for the fact that you did everything in your power to screw up showing up at that fight?
I don't know what's up with that guy.
Yeah, I can't follow the logic there where they actually think now they have some kind of high ground at this point.
That's what's amazing is that you still have people to this day that think that.
Yeah,
like
some of the dongoloids were at it again on Twitter earlier.
That one guy that you replied to, who he was like, it's canceled doesn't mean he didn't show up.
Oh, the one that replied to Medicare.
Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of nonsense was that? It's like, are you completely ignoring the reasons that it was canceled? And then to be so delusional to think that the promotion was like in cahoots with the other side in order to, screw up the fight. Like, what motivation would they have to do something that goes against their own contract, which would then give Tonka the ability to file a lawsuit against them? It just
I don't know. These are big brain people, so
it just makes absolutely zero sense.
we can't question their logic. They're smarter than we are. So
Well, it's 4D wrestling chess apparently.
he's gonna show us all how it was all part of the plan.
It's a work, fools, you goofs. I never signed my real name, so there was never a fight to begin with. 111-0.
There you go. You need that thinking black man meme. Can't mess up your record if you never use your real name.
There we go. I guess even if it's true, like even if he starts wrestling again or something, it still doesn't redeem what he did. He still cost people that, watched his channel hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to, buy tickets and make trips and stuff like that. And so what, you think because you get in the ring, like, you're badass again? That's not how that works. You already avoided the fight that you claim to have wanted so bad.
Fight me IRL.
Oh yeah, and then plus I don't have all the information in front of me or anything like that, but then there's the idea that they received donations for, going to Tennessee and then never went there, but also, never returned the funds and supposedly used them for personal stuff. So that's
Well, that's on the idiots that give these people money.
I mean, that's true.
There are way too many instances that I can't remember completely where somebody asked for money to help them do something, and then you never know what happens after they. Well, there is Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe. And
I guess we know what happens there. Trips to Japan and,
$37,000 Discord chats.
Oh man.
If we only knew.
I know, I wouldn't have even have opened a server if I knew I could charge money for it.
And so they can do what exactly? Talk about feminism or female oppression in the game industry?
Right, and also you can, they won't even travel there. You could have a $25,000 Skype call. Like, bitch, for $25,000, there better be some plane tickets.
Oh, that one was rich. Yeah, for pay me $2,500, or our speaking rate is $2,500.
We're not showing up though. Just put your laptop in the middle of the classroom.
If we want us to come in person, that's what was that, 10 grand?
They can't do that. They have to pay for armed security. All those death threats.
But you know how much they
that's another thing I'm getting so beyond done with. The whole I said something dumb on the internet and now I'm getting death threats thing.
Yeah, well, you and I already had a conversation a week ago about that thing. So
yeah, it's terrible. I don't understand how that even matters. I mean, first of all, if you thought they were credible, you'd be going to the police about it, but even then, I can't remember the last time there has been a death threat online where it led to something in real life. So even if it is possible for it to happen, it certainly doesn't happen often enough for all this fear-mongering about it.
But you can't emotionally manipulate people.
I mean, I
if you
also
get them
just
to think
don't
about
care. I wake up to Twitter and I look at my requests and there's somebody that just randomly says get raped, or, you know, like, what am I going to do about that? Cry about it? Why does it even matter? It's somebody I don't know. They don't know anything about me.
He must be a biggest problem fan if he said to get raped.
I imagine he didn't have too many witty, you know, insults, given the way that his username was spelled and with the combination of letters and numbers, very cool-like.
Well, now that I remember who you're talking about, he went and said that to everybody, so...
Yeah, except for some reason I got a DM with it.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. But now that I do remember it, it's like, oh yeah, weren't you the guy that kept going to everybody and just telling them that?
I forgot what it was even over. It was over something really stupid.
Something political, I believe. Or, you know, maybe you just said you didn't like tank controls, who knows?
Hard to say at this point. Silver stud. I think there were 2 items here. This is the reduced magic points.
I feel like I always have silver studs in that game. And gold studs.
Oh, the silver earring was the other one. Yeah, the gold one, I think there's 2 opportunities for that later on. You can also charm them, but that's, you know, if you're in the know, I guess, of where to get them.
I think I managed to get one before. I could be wrong, but I feel like I did do it.
I had
once.
a guy who DM'd me that I was ugly into KYS. Jeez.
Who said that?
Spooky. Did you turn him down?
Oh
for
yeah,
that
that guy that had the Clint Eastwood avatar.
These people.
You know, I made a comment, something like that to that effect, where it's like you always have all these guys on Twitter and stuff saying all these girls are ugly, and it's like, I bet you don't even have a girlfriend. Because like they would make that joke about Nora from former Killstream host, like saying she looks like a man and all that, and it's like, I'm sure your right hand looks way more attractive than Nora. I'm sorry, get my name wrong.
All calloused and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're idiots.
I'm like, even if that were true, who cares? You're not dating her. You're not dating anyone, more than likely.
Horny hippos.
I think if I'm tired of anything, it's everybody online trying to be tough guys. Like,
oh my god, that gets really old.
Like you're a cashier at Burger King. Please stop this. Nobody is impressed.
All right, later, Surreal. Thanks for stopping by. Mountains are so nice. I gotta talk to this guy a bunch of times until he gives me free stuff.
Oh, so you're using the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
I was actually,
thing,
yeah,
huh?
I was actually just gonna make that reference. Got him.
I don't like giving her much attention, but I think somebody had a picture of her where she was giving crocodile tears or something. She was like, I've just had enough.
Yeah, I try not to pay attention, but I've seen some dumb stuff shared around where it's like, watch her destroy this, you know, explanation for the government. Like, are you? Stop. No. It's just so well reasoned.
somebody pre- presented the position that maybe she's just trying to be like a liberal version of Trump in like how Trump trolls people all the time. Like she's trying to be a liberal version of that, which is why conservatives especially can't stop talking about her, because I guess she's playing that 4D chess right, but she's not doing it completely right.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, if you think about it, there is a reason to look at her and say, I don't think she really believes all the stuff that she's saying. It's talking points as all politicians do, but I don't really foresee her really when it comes time to put the pedal to the metal, really actually sticking up for that. But we'll see. But I just don't see that happening. It's like people want to make everybody rock stars, and so she's the rock star right now. That's what that comes down to. Whether or not she'll do anything is up to interpretation, I think. But yeah, other than that, it's like, yeah, I don't really pay much attention to her. Nobody I know really talks about her except when I'm on Facebook, and I'm not on Facebook anymore, so I don't have to hear about how super intelligent she is. I mean, what's worse is that I think some other thing on Twitter that's been going around is some PhD in economics is posting suggestions that don't work at all. Where she was like, yeah, just print more money. That'll fix the problem.
Oh, I feel like I saw some. Yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah, print more money. That'll do it. Like, you know what? I guess you're right. If we print more money, we really are turning into Nazi Germany then, but not for the reasons you think, or Tariq Nasheed thinks.
I'm not gonna get whooped by this boss.
I think I still have that screenshotted where he was like, we're under Nazi occupation.
Oh, that's great. Time to take the sword from the stone.
I feel like every time I walk around in this game, I'm always ending up in a new town. I don't remember this the first time I played the game.
Man, it's been a long time since I've even picked that up. I have the, I could stream it, I guess.
Well, I wanted to give it a shot. I felt like I didn't give it a fair shot before. So I said, well, I'll play it again and see if
I actually kind of like the story and stuff.
Yeah, I kind of am too. Interesting in the sense that, once again, you know, you have these situations where it's not always a happy ending, and somebody has to die, but you have the characters that you are around learn to adapt, and I like that is a thing, because it doesn't seem like you get that, or it didn't seem like you got that much even back then in RPGs. There were like a handful of RPGs where I guess the message they were trying to send, it was dramatically different from what was offered at large. Like Suikoden always had this sort of, you know, it's not the good side versus the bad side, it's your side and the other side, and just because you're opposing sides doesn't mean that you're more evil or they're more evil, and that you may want things to be a certain way, but you will have to deal with the inevitability of either disappointing situations or very tough situations. And that is why I complained about me not liking the ending of the second one, because I think they just control Z that whole situation, whereas the first and third one especially, it was like, yeah, you're going to have to deal with this eventuality, and you can't avoid it. And that's something that you don't hear a lot, or you didn't see a lot, especially in Japanese RPGs. It's not, oh, this everybody lives happily ever after. It's you got where you got, and here was the cost that it took to get there.
Right. Oh, thanks, Drumboy. Appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I haven't. I guess it's a big part of that is my fault since I don't really have like a set schedule for streaming. It's kind of just whenever I go live is when it happens.
You like to live spontaneously, so never let a woman tell you that you aren't spontaneous or something.
There we go. Where's your sense of adventure? What, you mean you don't know that I stream whenever I want?
Was that actually in the chat? Where's your sense of adventure?
No.
Oh.
I was just being foolish.
I mean, I'm totally looking at the video right now. I'm not playing anything else. And getting like lots of recipes for alchemy.
Just need to turn junk metals into gold in your set.
Well, that's how it always goes.
Damn it, stop confusing my party members. Well, at least it didn't work. Ooh, that was bad.
A woman with purple hair. Uh-oh.
You know, I think I made my main character have the purplish shade of hair when I played that game. So that's something I can't do anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
Or I can do it in order to, you know, take it back. Gotta reclaim it.
Yeah, so this woman's wearing a bikini, so... and she's not fat, so, you know...
Well, then that's clearly just made for the male gaze.
There you go. Because if anything really works me up, it's very small sprites of Akira Toriyama artwork.
Oh, that was not good. I didn't heal, and he hit the whole party. Damn.
They bring up the male gaze because no males gaze at them.
Yeah, that's probably a big part of it. Oh, crap. I might be screwed. I don't know, it seems like the speed is like... It seems like everyone in this game is on speed all of a sudden.
Well... then I hope they don't have guns and drugs and molest their 10-year-old daughter then if they're on speed.
You know what bothered me about that whole situation is that somebody set up a GoFundMe to get her a lawyer. I'm like, come on, stop. Like, well, you know, it's innocent until proven. It's like, okay, yeah, I get that, but pretty good pile of evidence there,
and most lawyers, if it's that much evidence, I would imagine that you'd have a lot of lawyers who would just look for a plea deal.
What about Eugene? Oh, the anorexic chick. Yeah, that's that is a disturbing situation.
Yeah, you know, I hadn't heard about her for a couple, and then she came up again, and it was like, yeah, that's really depressing.
It's like she just looks so much worse than before. Like before, I thought, you know, a couple of years ago I saw her, I was like, yeah, that's pretty bad. Now it's just like, oh, she's a skeleton. I can't even look at the photo without, you know, having to like look away from it. It's just that bad. I don't really understand what's going on. I mean, I think the family is kind of messed up because there's that one video. I mean, who knows? It could all be some, you know, elaborate show, but there's one video where if you listen in the background, she has music in the background of the video, and I feel like it was to cover up this, where you hear someone in the background say something like, "You're killing her," and then the other person says, "I want the money." So it's like they know she's sick, but they're letting her continue with the YouTube channel just for the cash.
I mean, don't we all want the money?
And the weird thing is like, if you knew that was in there, why would you still post the video? Like, that's the part that's suspect to me, but then maybe, I don't know, maybe on some level it's a cry for help. It's hard to say. Could be really out of context. Yeah, I mean, I guess. It's hard to... it's hard to imagine a context for that is, you know, not bad. Like maybe it was just a movie on in the background or something. I don't know. But that would be interesting. It's just really weird. I mean, I've never seen first of all, I've never seen a person that skinny living. And the fact that her legs are pretty much red, that's not a good sign.
I mean, I've seen something like that, but usually that's when some celebrity comes in and says just 30 cents a day can give some person with a suspiciously Anglo-sounding name a meal or whatever they say.
Little Billy.
Like, you look like you're in the middle of Southeast Asia. I don't think anybody is named Billy there.
What about Bimmy and Jimmy?
Well, that's a completely different situation.
Alright, I think I have to go here. And call this kid out for being a little piece of garbage, claiming to be the hero.
Tata?
Yeah, I gotta cancel him on Twitter.
You have to report him for supporting Vic Magana.
Alright.
I'm really doing this because I care about what did that one Monica Riles or whatever her name is?
Yeah, even though, I mean, kind of weird that she was like talkative with him back in December and on Twitter and like sent him the kissy emoji. Like that just, I mean, I guess on some level you could say, okay, well, it's kind of petty that you're looking at an emoji and thinking something of it, but I just can't imagine you think this guy's a harasser, supposedly he's done it to you, and you're sending him what could be interpreted as a suggestive, you know, image. Just doesn't add up.
It's character assassination. Well, I mean, now you have people just even people who would normally just say, I don't think he did it. Now you have a lot more people saying, well, maybe he could have done it, but this is overkill for what that is. And it's like, well, I mean, you don't have any evidence that he did it. You just have a bunch of screenshots people sent, which is not evidence.
Play a better game? What planet am I living
on? Is your average age demographic 12?
I don't know.
We're
not allowed to make jokes like that, though.
Oh.
Remember what happens.
They leave the chat.
Yeah, I can't really.
I don't see the drawback there.
Whatever happened to having a sense of humor?
No, you can't have those anymore.
Can't handle the bants? Come on, guys.
I mean, it is funny because people like that tend to say that, and then when it's on them, they get very frustrated and they say, "How come you can't see it my way?"
Yes, Sweet Home, that is on my list as well. I don't think I've ever tried it.
Ever tried what?
Sweet Home.
Oh yeah.
Should I?
I guess
it?
I did bring that up a while ago, didn't I?
Yeah, somebody else brought it up too. Alright, I'll try to fight Specky. I'm sure I'm gonna probably get my ass kicked, but whatever.
It looked like a fun game. Maybe one day I'll play it when I'm in the mood for horror. I'm usually not on, like, I don't even like horror movies, but I did recently play Parasite Eve because it was October.
Hey Necro, what's up? Long time no see.
He's commissioning more pornography of his own character.
Uh-oh.
I take it you didn't see that.
I feel like maybe not the exact post you're referring to, but I have seen references.
Oh, she's taking a little bit of baby gravy to the mouth.
Oh no. Yeah, I might have missed that one.
And
Alright, I beat him.
And her breasts are kind of like J-shaped, kind of pointed upwards. So maybe she needs a more supportive bra. I don't know.
It's going hardcore anime there.
I mean, she can't. They can't all be whatever that. The Bully Hunters one that did body painting.
Oh, zombie unicorn or something or other.
Yeah, what did you say? 2 blue wind socks or something?
Yeah. Oh, it's just that image was hilarious because it's like, oh, this girl is banned for saying there's 2 genders. Oh, but here's this topless woman just painting herself.
Totally okay.
My mind is just blown that that's considered hateful. Like, who are they trying to please?
I think we all know who they're trying to please.
Well, yeah, but I guess I just don't understand. Oh, you know what's funny? I'm multi-streaming to Twitch right now, so so I just repeated the very thing that got somebody banned. Oh well.
I forgot all about Twitch.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have forgotten that I even have a channel on there. I haven't used it in so long, and for good reason. It's kind of crap.
I was going to say, isn't Twitch just for going and finding girls to hit on, like female streamers that you can?
Yeah, I guess that is a thing.
I mean, not like how the thirsty guys in the chat are, but I mean like how a man approaches a woman. Not...
Oh, speaking of streamers, Shen is considering a return to streaming.
That's interesting. I wonder if the guys will be thirstier now.
I wonder if they'll even it'll be this. It probably won't even be the same crowd. I mean, it's been like 3 years.
Yeah, probably won't.
I'm sure some old followers will get the notification and be like, "Oh, hey, I remember," but
yeah, and there'll probably be that one guy that keeps making subtle "can we have sex" type advances.
Has that ever worked for you? I mean, not only on like a random woman that you don't know, but one that's in a relationship. I mean, come on.
Well, I still think that one guy on Twitter is probably like just the worst. Like, he just looks for anybody who is either associated with internet blood sports or
anyone with a pulse at this rate.
Yeah, because he's gone after that one Dractonus and maybe that bad tits woman, maybe, or no, one of the other, like, Nora's friends.
Okay.
He tried to talk to her, and then and Leaf, he tried to do that, talk to her too.
That's funny.
I think he even commented when she put one of her thoughtful
I mean,
pictures.
I don't know. Like,
up.
obviously, all right. I mean, you see somebody attractive, I can appreciate that, but I feel like when it comes to social media, like they get bombarded with compliments, so it's like it's almost pointless to even throw one out there. Like, do you really think yours is going to be the one that
That's going to be the one that gets them.
like that's the one that's going to get through? It's like, oh yeah, after the 100th time, they're like, yeah, I'm pretty, I know.
I don't even know if he put up. I don't know if Leaf ever put up pictures of her face. I guess she did. But...
Yeah, you could probably find some if you went far back enough, but
it's mostly her body, which is like, okay, that's kind of a red flag to me if you only show that.
Yeah, it's Chrono Trigger.
But I'm like, are you sure you would want all of those women anyway? I'm sure a good amount of them are crazy. And then it's like, if you don't know, do you even know what you're interested in? Because I'm like, some of these ladies have some unique interests, and I don't think you want to get into that. Could be wrong, but you know, when you're thirsty, I guess, as long as the woman's breathing.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, at least he's going after women, because, you know, in this day and age...
Oh, the whole trap thing?
We got that, and then we got the animals thing.
Oh, yeah. That's the furry Discord.
Yeah.
I really don't want to see any more of that ever again. I was considering bringing that up on my next stream, but then I'm like, man, do I even want to read out those messages? They're just so terrible.
Yeah, I don't think I could handle it. There's I can't remember, but there was one where it was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna read this because I'm gonna be upset.
I read them all. It was terrible. It was just absolutely disturbing. If they were being completely genuine and actually did those things, you've just like revoked your human card.
I think what I was thinking of is like the maps, as they call themselves.
Oh God.
I'm like, if you talk about if I had children and you talked about them that way, I'm gonna do like that one guy, and I'm just gonna call the cops.
Wait a minute. Pedo Discord is a thing? I mean,
I'm not even surprised.
I guess it's not shocking, but why do these things always have to have their own little subsets?
You know, I never find these seedy sides of Discord. Like, I always end up in the ones where, oh, hey, you're learning this language. Why don't you practice with native speakers?
Oh, see, I don't even know how to find servers and stuff. I'm really basic with it. Like, I just use mine, and then I message a few people, and I part of, like, I think I'm in the kill stream one just for call-ins. I don't like interact or anything. And
like, hey, broski.
That's pretty much it. You know, that's sad because there's actually a guy calling himself broski.
Yeah.
He's not a kill stream fan though. He's on the Donga side, I believe.
He's on he's on the dead air side.
Child grooming in chat rooms go hand in hand. Yeah, I guess that's always been a thing for a very long time. It's how we ended up with the To Catch a Predator thing.
I was just here because I was trying to ask why she was doing this and warn her.
It really took me to come all the way over to the house.
I remember when that show first came out, because I was at my sister's house. I was out of town at my sister's house, and I'm like, what is this? And I just saw so many of the dumb excuses, like, okay, I gotta watch this.
There's so many different you got Kumatards, you got Dongaloids. Those are, oh man. priceless.
But yeah, I never find these creepy Discord servers. Like I said, most of the other servers that I'm on are related to either something in my professional work or something in that I like to do for fun, which is learn language. So I used to have a lot more, and then I left them because I am not using them. But I had like Japanese Discord.
Oh, did the game go out? What the fuck just happened? Alright, hold on. Let me try to get it back. Apparently...
Is OBS at it again?
Yeah, that was random. Like, the source is still there. I don't know. Okay, it's back. That's weird. I don't know what happened. I like how I can not touch anything and it just decides to turn off.
Finally, you've learned about consent. If you don't touch it, it'll turn off. Is that how we ended up in rape culture? There are a bunch of guys that said, well, every time I don't touch you, you're turned off.
Probably. Oh, hey, speaking of which, I'm in the Kumite.
They didn't pick you out of that one?
No, the 65 million BC because of the way they talk.
Oh, okay.
They talk in Donga Post. Reptite scales, cold blood, hard to beat. Drink happy water? Drink, feel good.
Happy water. I think we all know where we're going with that one. Shadow Turban. Okay, well. And I think we all have a good idea of what happens when you wear a shadow turban, so.
Travel ban when?
I'm not going to say what it is. I'm just going to say that the only people that can equip it are in this game are thieves, and I'll let you guys figure out the rest.
I have to do the soup eating contest.
And then watch Luca get wasted.
Yeah, and Kino, he doesn't like foreigners.
I mean, who does?
Like, you strange men, leave now. Passed down many generation.
Don't you love Japanese games where characters start randomly speaking English? Dalton does that, since you're playing Chrono Trigger. Dalton does that.
In the Japanese version?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
When he gets the epoch or whatever, and they play the wrong music.
Yeah.
He says in English, "Stop the music." Well,
Nice.
with a very thick Japanese accent, he says, "Stop the music."
That works.
It's basically like listening to Master Tatsu from the Ninja Turtles talk.
I could do that all day.
I wonder what he's doing. I think he's still alive.
Was he ever in anything else?
What is it? Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Oh, that's right. Come on, I already had some of this. Stop making me drink stupid shit. I already have to do the contest. I don't need any more. There we go.
Oh, that was a lot of damage. Which is interesting because my class in this game is the same class as what you guys call Sylvando in Dragon Quest XI. I don't know why they did that. You would think in this very forward-thinking society they would have called them what they call them in the Japanese version, but
in this political climate,
in this current year generation, they wouldn't let him be called by his preferred name. Now he never did give his preferred pronouns. We don't know.
They should have made them up. I'm surprised they didn't make them up for the translation.
Yeah, since they did it with that dumb Final Fantasy Type 0.
Oh,
remember
yeah.
they did that with the Moogles, and
Yeah,
they're
they
like,
put it in
Z,
like the flavor text for the Moogles.
yeah, like Z prefers this. Like, no, desist.
Well, that's kind of funny. I mean, I get that it's fictional, but it's kind of funny because they're always like, you're imposing your binary gender standards on other cultures. It's like, okay, well, what did you just do to these poor innocent little Moogles?
Yeah, because I think the first thing people did is they went to go find the Japanese instruction manual to show that this wasn't in the Japanese. Like, you didn't need to look at the manual just to know that. I could have told you that. They almost never use pronouns in Japanese. What they do is they use first-person pronouns, and therefore it's up to the speaker to decide what they want to use. So
Right.
He does do that in the Japanese version. He will use the first-person pronoun that women usually use to speak, but he's not the first and not the last JRPG character to do that. There are tons of other characters that I can't remember right now that they did that same thing where they talk like a female. And there's only one instance I can think of, Suikoden 2, where there was a woman who talked like a man. In fact, there's a guy in the first and second. He's a villain named Necklord. He's a vampire, and he mentions that because he's like, because she said he kidnaps a 7-year-old, so minor attracted person, so that girl can become his bride when she gets older. That's what he said.
Sure. So come on, guys, wait.
And then the other person he kidnapped is like, "Are you going to make me a bride too?" But in the Japanese version, she talks very masculine, and he's like, "No, you're too." In the English version, he says she's too vulgar, and in the Japanese, he says like you don't stand out, or you're not interesting enough. And she's like, "What do you mean?" And she starts talking more masculine, and he's like, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's uninteresting."
Did anyone hear that Disney is hosting gay pride parades? Is that really a thing?
Wouldn't be the first time. I mean, I remember when people used to make it a big deal. They're like, "Did you know Disney owns a porn company?" Yeah.
They like money. Wow, shocking.
A business wants to make money? Oh, call me. Well,
I mean, actually, that is kind of a crazy assumption in this year. They like to change the world.
I was going to say, in the era of Silicon Valley startups, that is a big deal.
They don't have a commitment to profit. They have a commitment to diversity and inclusion.
And it's so ridiculous hearing investors say that. Like, "Oh, we're not interested in companies that want to turn a profit." What? We want to see growth. Like, okay. Because growth makes your investment better. That's ultimately what the logic they have. It doesn't matter if you're making a profit, but if your business grows, then the other person's money that they used to invest in your startup grows, because they never use these venture capitalists never use their money.
I guess they're having gay pride parades in their park in June.
Well, I mean, I guess when else would they do it? Last time I went to Walt Disney World, I saw two gentlemen in matching outfits, well, identical outfits, as we were headed to Magic Kingdom.
really is the gayest place on earth.
Very, very flamboyant. Like not the type where it's like, oh yeah, I'm a regular human being. I'm attracted to men. Nothing like that. Like the type that has to let you know they like the D. But I'm not talking about Walt Disney World. I'm talking about Walt Disney himself. Potentially. Maybe they don't like him because something about Nazis. People used to complain about that. Now I don't really hear anything about it.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Back when, people were talking about real Nazis, not people with differing political
Not
opinions.
imaginary ones.
Yeah.
That wizards fight online.
I'm surprised I didn't get blocked for that.
Yeah, I really am. That is crazy.
I can't even remember. Oh, yeah, because he was saying it was like anybody who supported Vic or something. Or no, because Vic, in his mind, supports.
Yeah, he didn't disavow,
Nazis.
and the stupid rules they come up with.
I get so tired of hearing that. I had an advisor once who was like, when the 2016 election was still a thing. I'm like, oh, he didn't avow David Duke, and it's like, or disavow David Duke. Like, how many times do you have to disavow? Why? What does that even matter? I don't agree with this. What this person says. Okay.
I mean, plus he's not that. It's not like he's that relevant now.
Yeah, I mean, and I can understand why that person would think that he's relevant because she lived where he lived, so she had to deal with him for much longer than I guess the rest of us have. And like nobody takes him seriously anymore. Like even when Killstream had him there, he was just talking about fitness and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yeah, just let this guy talk. I mean, that used to be what we were told to do when we were growing up. Just don't take those people seriously.
Don't take the bait.
As long as they don't affect your paycheck, who cares what they think? Who cares if they don't like you because of the color of your skin? If they aren't signing your paycheck and they're not affecting you getting a check, then they can think whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it comes down to. You can never control what people are thinking. You shouldn't even want to. I mean, it just kind of goes to show like you care too much about what others are thinking about it. As long as I hate to say it's not hurting anyone, but I mean if they're not doing anything, I will say if they're not doing anything illegal, there's not too much you can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, people are always going to find reasons to not like people. I mean, as we've discovered today, the mere act of not liking a certain gameplay control.
That's what I'm saying.
So it doesn't really matter if they don't like somebody or not. They make too much of an issue about that. Like that's the thing that I've noticed. Like nobody in my family or my wife's family ever talk about racism in that way, like, and in a way where they get worked up over it. Because like, well, you kind of get used to it.
I mean, at some point, it kind of just is what it is, and if somebody says something to you directly, yeah, give them hell. But if it's not, there's not much you can do.
Right, and then like I said, the only time people ever say anything to me directly is when they're in a place where they can avoid physical retaliation. It's like either
it's
they
kind of weird. I mean, I don't know. It's
like you had that one guy in that one stream that you did, and then I can't remember. That's the only recent situation I can think of was that guy.
Yeah, in this playthrough, it's the first visit to the prehistoric era. Okay, here's the new. I don't even know if I should be bothering with this part. I kind of just wanted to get the armor for the other two party members. I don't think I want to hang around here long enough to get it for everybody.
Mm. And that guy thought he was super smart too, and I found it was hilarious because then uh, Spooky talked about Boku no Pico, and he didn't realize
what it was
based on like she had been arguing with him the whole time because he was also big on like, oh, everybody should be a vegan and eating animals dumb and wrong, and we're not naturally designed to be eating animals and all that. And
I've never understood that argument or where they get that idea from.
And she was getting annoyed with him, and then I guess he started setting his sights on me because apparently my my ethnic background prevents me from understanding how to make bread, which is what 5 ingredients, but apparently that's so complicated for somebody with my of my stature that he kept trying to get underneath my skin, and then had the nerve to talk to me about context when he was, because it was one of those things where he's like, oh yeah, you're dumb, you and all that, and he was misspelling words all the time, and I kept pointing that out, and then he was like, well, you know, white people have this thing called context that they can use to understand what somebody says even if they make a mistake, and you lack that. And then somehow it got into the subject of anime, and then and Spooky was like, you should try Boku no Pico, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna try that. It's like, you spent like the last 30 minutes arguing with her before you were arguing with me. And then he was like, I didn't realize what this was going to be. And I'm like, really? Like, what happened to context? And then he never showed up again.
Yeah, I mean, why would you assume that somebody that you've been arguing with is recommending you something out of the kindness of their heart? That's pretty goofy. I don't remember.
Like, I've never seen it, but I knew. I mean, I knew what it was. But even if I didn't, I could tell by the context of like, yeah, you're probably not really sincerely recommending I check this out.
What? No Bible Black and.
I should have done that. I forgot all about that until a couple of days ago. I'm like, oh yeah, Bible Black's a thing.
Okay, I need I'm trying to remember which combination I haven't done because I need the gun.
But you know, I'm not a good weeb anymore because the only time I see Japanese is either when I'm playing a game or when they want to talk to me about, or Japanese people want to talk to me about the decreasing sperm count in Japanese men.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hey, I don't know what I can say to that. And it's like, yeah, what do you think about that as an American? Well, I mean, you said it was because they were using cell phones and laptops, right? If you stop using cell phones and laptops, if you wanted more sperm, I don't know what you want me to say to that.
Damn it! I didn't mean to do that. I meant. There's got to be a combination that I haven't tried.
Those were some interesting times, though. So, like I say, find some Japanese girls to hit on, and
damn it, I'm done. They won't let me.
You know, that's a thing I never would expect to hear when talking about Chrono Trigger.
What?
Because I mean, like, the biggest thing that everybody always says about it is that it's easy. So the fact that it's like, oh, this is difficult, just hard to
Oh, apparently some people in the chat had just discovered where my avatar had come from fighting the new battle.
Oh, just wait till they see where your username comes from.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to the friend of mine that drew the avatar. She kind of disappeared.
Yeah,
I
thought
talked to her on Steam maybe like a year or two ago, but now I went back on there and her username is just gone. I don't know if that means that I have been blocked or or just can you even delete a Steam account?
I don't know. I was gonna say, did you have some inappropriate political opinions?
There was no. I mean, if that's the case, there was no indication of that. I mean, it sure would be nice if people would tell me when they got mad. I'd have a chance to address it.
Well, you know.
I don't think that's it, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't either. It's just I felt like something like that was the case, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, there was no conversation or anything that ever went badly, so.
I mean, it could have been like Necro, where you said some wrong opinions and then
and then they just disavow you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's strange. I don't know. I just feel like if somebody says something that annoys you or makes you mad and you're supposedly friendly with them, you would think, you'd at least be like, hey, this thing. I guess that's not something that happens anymore.
No, I think that the days of that are.
But then again, like oddly enough, I feel like I've always known people like that. Even when back in the day, if my friends had an issue, I would always hear about it from somebody else, and I'd be like, "What? I never heard that." I don't know what it is, but apparently there's this thing where people have an aversion to telling me things where they have a problem. If they have a problem with me or something.
They are afraid of confrontation.
I guess.
I mean, that seems to be what I always experience.
Well,
like,
it's kind of funny though. People always say things, and often you hear this from women that they like somebody that speaks like they have confidence in their words and whatnot. But anytime I do it, like I'm a prick or I'm arrogant, or it's like, okay, come on now. The only reason you're saying that is because you don't like whatever it is I'm saying.
But then weren't you the one that showed me that study where it was like women don't like male feminists?
Yeah, there was that article and they were talking about that with the study linked in it.
So yeah, I don't know, because yeah, we heard that a lot, back in the days when we could have turned into nice guys if we.
And it's just, the whole thing is just stupid to me because it's like, all right, I'm giving my opinion on something, so it's obviously something that I've thought about. Whether you think I'm right or wrong, it's something that I've thought about. It's something that I have put out there. Why wouldn't I speak like authoritatively? Like, why wouldn't I, sound like I believe what I'm saying? If I don't, then who else would?
Right, because then if you acted that way, then they wouldn't want to talk to you.
Or they'd be like, oh, you're just you're being a bitch. You're not. Have some confidence in yourself. Like, I just speak my mind, and I mean, if somebody wants to get mad at that as a result when I'm not even speaking directly to them and it's kind of just something that they're listening to, I can't really do much about that.
I guess it's just our opinions are too problematic, and that's
I
what
feel
it
like a
is.
lot of people make. I mean, they make a lot of assumptions with certain things that they hear. Like, oh, I heard this from him, so obviously I can extrapolate that he also believes this, and that might not even necessarily be true.
Yeah. um,
I mean, obviously I
eh,
had that, considering yesterday the wizard was like, "You're a Nazi." I'm like, do you don't even have any clue. I'm just some random person. What did I even say regarding Nazism?
I didn't know that you were a National Socialist.
I wasn't aware either, but I have learned new things about myself, and I'm trying to work that out.
That sounds like a, PR apology when you're caught doing something
Yeah, I now choose to
problematic.
live my life.
Well, you are on trial now, sir. So you may have to choose your life in a prison cell.
I just feel like they've kind of ruined all those terms. Like, call somebody like Nazi or alt-right or something, and it's just completely. It's like it's now a joke. It just doesn't mean anything because it's been watered down.
Nothing
Like,
has any
at
meaning
this
anymore.
point, I would probably need the person that's being called that to outwardly say, "Yeah, I'm all right," or "Yeah, I'm a Nazi," in order for me to believe they actually are.
Yeah,
And the
but
ones that truly believe that don't really have much problems self-identifying, you know. So
yeah, I mean, I've seen plenty of people who will just say, "Yeah, I'm racist.
yeah,
I don't like these people."
it's like, well,
Um,
I mean, all right, at least at the very least you're honest. I know who to, you know.
like, okay, you're honest. Now I don't have to listen to your opinions. But no, where they would rather just say they. There are a few people that are going to say that, so they just and they can't keep calling people Nazis because then people catch on. That's like, okay,
Yeah.
uh, you don't know what you're talking about, so they have to find other things to say. So that's why alt right is one of the things that they always go to.
How come you didn't use the flying monkey avatar? I don't know. He's pretty cool. I guess I could have done that. Drumboy says, "You've always had good takes on current events / news. In my opinion, you never sounded like an extremist to me." Well, I guess the thing is like everybody. I feel like the bar for what constitutes extremism has kind of dropped pretty low,
Yep.
and it's sort of just this thing where if somebody doesn't like something you said, they're like, "He's an extremist," and then they don't even have to. You know, then they don't. At that point, they don't even really have to come up with any kind of counter. It's just if they can get enough people to believe it, that that label sticks, and then the other person is sort of ostracized or whatever. Whatever happens these days now when you say something wrong, you have to be brought to the court of public opinion to apologize for things from 40 years ago that you never actually did, but may have thought about.
But then if you do it to somebody who's on the right side, they're like, "Why do you have to bring up old stuff?"
It's interesting when you see stuff like that.
So it's like you guys can do it when I don't know Kevin Hart or somebody gets.
It's
Uh,
because who you're associated with. I mean, I've definitely had people come to me and say things like that, but for the most part, I feel like a lot of people aren't even aware sometimes, and I still get weird accusations. Apparently, I changed somebody's gender today, so there's that.
yeah, I mean that was quite an accomplishment you did there. After watching this video, I realized I'm not okay.
I guess, I mean, all right, I'll take it. I was just kind of responding to that crazy person who is now actually trans when the whole time they were trying to argue that they were neither, but, whatever.
I'll take it though.
I found you through the Ralph Retort, and they think the show is like a nightly clan meeting. Yeah, some people really do treat it like that. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. I mean, maybe because of all the stupid, like the weird things I've heard throughout my life and all the things that I've, had to tolerate from other people, it doesn't bother me that much when people say outrageous stuff, but I don't know. I've never had it to be the point where it's like, okay, they said something terrible, I need to ban them. Like, either I'll answer them or I'll ignore it. Those are really your options.
Or they'll leave on their own.
Yeah. Plus,
Why?
I don't know. Just because you can label somebody in a certain way doesn't mean they never have anything of value to say. Like, somebody's always gonna say something that is agreeable. That doesn't mean you have to buy into everything that they believe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know many people that say that in the case of the Ralph Retort, but certainly for like Dick Masterson and somebody like that, there are plenty of people who.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to the Dick Show, and I don't agree with everything that's on there, obviously, but I can just listen to it because they're entertaining people.
Yeah,
and he seems like, he seems like he's just a genuinely nice person. He doesn't act like, oh, I'm this famous guy with all these followers. Like, he'll have a conversation with you, and at the very least, I can appreciate that, because there's a lot of people that are YouTubers that are a lot lesser, and they won't even talk to you. And they act like, they're this big thing.
They'll charge you $3,000 for a shout out.
Yeah, got to make that shout out video. It takes time and money. I don't like that. I don't like that it's come to that point where people feel the need, like, they have to clarify. Like, I don't agree with everything they say. It's like, that's normal.
I hate those disclaimers. Like, I don't agree with everything they say.
But the shitty part is that people are assuming that, and then it brings about the need where somebody has to think they need to say that, even though it should just be assumed, because it's a totally normal human being thing to not have every point of agreement ever with a person.
Those disclaimers at this point in my life drive me insane.
Yeah, and like, even if I don't agree on something, usually I can at least come to a point where if they're not complete, douchebags about it that just want to have like a shouting match, I can at least come to an understanding of where they're trying to come from, even if I think it's a silly point.
No, we just need to be. I mean, it does feel like some people kind of expect that too. Like, oh, I need to be in blind agreement because I hate to bring it up again, but like when people were in the Killstream chat, we're talking about, I guess, race mixing, and Ralph was like, yeah, I don't agree
about that.
I am a race mixer, so I don't apologize for that, so I don't have an issue with it. Like, yeah, call me that if you want, but I'm fine with that.
What are you supposed to do? I don't know. I mean, look, if you are like genuinely against that, here's what you do: marry somebody from your own tribe. That's it. Like, that's it.
Simple and easy.
Like, and I don't even care. I mean, you're not dictating who I'm dating or whatever. It doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm still married, so as far as I'm concerned, nobody's forced me to marry anybody, so I couldn't care less. Not that I'm a race mixer. That those opportunities have long gone. But.
So Drumboy says, you guys are right, not sure where you guys align politically. Sounds like y'all are kind of moderate, or you just hide your power level really well. I like the power level reference. I don't know. I've never really tried to like ascribe a label. I mean, all kinds of people have all kinds of different labels for me, so it's hard to say. Kind of depends who I'm talking to, right? and then I don't know. It's like nobody's right on everything, so it's hard to just be like, I'm hardcore this.
Yeah, I tend to be very leery of that.
I know that sounds kind of like, oh, you know, you're trying to avoid label, you're trying to sound like you're above it all, but I really do try to. I just feel like it makes more sense to kind of, for me, to just do like, okay, how do you feel about this particular issue? If somebody wants to, if somebody wants to call that a left or right thing, it doesn't really matter because that's what I believe in. And, I know maybe I'm coming off like, oh, you're the super reasonable. No, obviously, there's a lot of people that I can't stand. I'm not going to even try to hide that. But what I'm saying is generally, if a person is being decent toward me in the moment, then I can at least extend the same. But, it's like the golden rule type thing. You treat someone the way you want to be treated, or I guess in my view, it's kind of like, oh, if somebody approaches me in a certain way, that's usually what they're going to get out of me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see or need to be hostile to somebody unless they are to me.
And a lot of the times, when you're on social media, people just come out of nowhere with these antagonistic, things where you're just like, wait a sec, what even prompted that? And since it's a complete stranger, I'm just like, oh, okay, hell with this person. Let's just mess with them.
I don't really care I mean, especially if they're the ones that started off being antagonistic. It's like I have no sympathy for you at all. Like, if you come to me crazy, I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna reciprocate. So
yeah, the whole like always having to expected to be like the better person, or you get labeled. That's just the dumbest thing ever. It's like, why would you cut off your balls just because you want random onlookers to perceive you a certain way? Like, anybody that's going to see me stand up for myself and look at me as the bad guy, they're a jackass, so I don't care what they think.
I'm really not gonna lose sleep over the opinions of people that are like, oh, you should be nicer.
Yeah, that's dumb. It's always in a situation where like somebody has started talking shit, and I'm just like, wait a sec, why do you expect me to be the nice person here? It doesn't make sense. Did you even read the other comments? Zintrax says, I like watching all these nutjobs argue with Scratch, but then block him when he asks reasonable questions. Like, where's the proof? Like, okay, this happened to this person, so where's the evidence that happened?
Although I will say, the one person that you asked for, or the one person that you were trying to kind of lead into the whole providing proof thing, that scientific proof that there's more than two genders.
Yeah.
Didn't realize the setup there. And then it was like, I have degrees in science.
The non-binary skeletal remains are my favorite thing.
Oh, that's a bit, because I've noticed that they use that a lot now. They'll say, well, I have a degree in science, and so then it's just tempting to just say, okay, well, what kind of degree? Because I bet you it's not biology. And it's not. It never is.
Well, I also just felt like what she was going with, like forensics and stuff, like, okay, that's like crime investigation. You can tell, they can figure out, gender and ethnic background and whatnot from that stuff, and you think this is an argument for non-binary? That doesn't make sense, because you have a solid biological answer.
Yeah, I think the closest thing somebody's ever went to provide actual evidence was that one person that was like, oh, you should look at the bed nucleus or some such nonsense, that will show you that there are people that may be male but have female brains or something. And then I'm like, okay, I'll take a look at it. And then come to find out, oh, well, the sample size on this study was 47 or something like that. And it's like, okay, so you're basing your entire position on whether or not transgenderism is totally real and valid based on one study. And it's like I mean, if I remember correctly, there are other studies, but nearly every one of them suffer from the problem of there's not enough people in the sample size for the experiment. And then on top of that, the ages that they usually get people to do this are ages where their brain has not finished developing yet, or their brain does not develop a gender identity. So it's
Right.
like because they wanted to talk to me about, well, if a 7-year-old feels that they're this gender, then it's okay. And it's like, but they don't have gender, like their brains don't develop gender identity until way later on in their teens. So how can you just say, well, this 7-year-old wants to he's a boy and he wants to be a girl, totally valid. They don't know.
It's
Their brains are not there yet. That is gross
it's a
negligence.
very strange situation. And I've heard some theories from people, and I at first when you hear it, you're like, oh, maybe that's getting a little bit conspiratorial. But then you also see some of the articles that they come out with, and they were saying, like, okay, if they can convince people that they can consent to, changing their gender and whatnot, then it's only a matter of time before they can convince them that, children can consent to sexual activity. And, I mean, the way things are going...
I mean, they kept using that slippery slope argument before, and they're like, oh, you can't say this is going to happen. That's totally unreal. You're just being unreasonable. And then now we're here, and it's like, oh well, you're just using Christian talking points or something. Somebody used something like that with me once when I was talking about...
see, here's the thing, though. Even if that was absolutely true, does that matter? Like, does that mean that it is automatically incorrect?
I mean, in the world where everybody cares about logical fallacies, no. But to those people, yes. Because remember, it's okay when they do it.
It's a fan favorite. Man, if I have to fight this encounter one more time, stop it.
I mean, we can never get enough of that one.
You're just a bigot, but now we're on the slope. I don't know, I feel like we started to tumble down just a little bit. Ayla is a beast. There you go.
She's an LGBT. She does hit on Luca, I think.
And see, there's something nobody ever complained about. Those people that want to, like, change video games with the whole representation thing, they never realized that there's been all these things all along that nobody has ever complained about.
Well, because they don't play games.
It's like, it's just been there organically. Nobody said anything. Nobody's just like, no, this needs to be removed. Except for maybe, like, back when it was, Nintendo, and they're like, oh, this bar has to be changed to a pub or a cafe.
this beer has to be changed to cider.
Yeah. And that was dumb then. I definitely didn't like that. You know what bothers me about that the most is, it's like there's a rating system already. So if a game wasn't intended for children and it's rated as such, why do you even need censorship at that point? Are you really trying to protect adults from adult content?
They're trying to protect parents from having to parent their own children. That's what I always feel like. It's like I don't, even back then as a kid, I'm like, I don't need you to tell me what I'm comfortable with, because they would do that for, like, the thing I remember other than the pubs is like the religious references, and it's like I'm not gonna get offended if Japanese people who don't understand the religion that they're trying to reference maybe misuse the reference a little bit. It's not really gonna bother me. And it's like, how
Plus,
do you
if
let
it's
that
like
go?
a fictitious setting anyway, I mean, they've
like
taken so many different, historical figures or mythological figures and done crazy shit, all kinds of crazy stuff with them. There's a couple of anime where they take like Joan of Arc and
Well,
even
there's
Sherlock
that PSP
Holmes,
game.
and they do a bunch of random, they put them in these settings that obviously it's not the way the original story went.
Yeah, and there's don't forget that PSP game.
Oh, yep. That is a good game. I have to go back to that. I'm stuck on that battle. I hope I didn't screw up that file, because I saved on that battle and I don't know if I'm strong enough to win. That's a no-no when it comes to strategy RPGs. You have to be careful.
Well, if only you had asked the master of strategy RPGs what her opinion was, or what her advice was. Then you could have really gotten somewhere.
Yes, what was I thinking? Oh shit, this is not good. Everybody needs to use a mid potion. I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like I don't want to say difficulty, because it's not like I'm dying, struggling exactly, but it seems like the difficulty has been upped a little bit somehow.
Would you say perhaps it is increased difficulty?
Not to that degree, but it does feel like it's in there.
To a degree where it's still fun to play.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just I need to be a little bit more mindful of the battle. Like, I feel like if I was playing on Super Nintendo, I'd kind of just blow through it.
Yeah, I guess you got to use your training here. A buffalo helmet, okay.
Oh yeah, Cecil just pointed out the even Chrono Trigger uses the Three Wise Men reference. I mean, I guess that is the English version, but
yeah, it
is there nonetheless.
Yeah, the Japanese was much less interesting, but I feel like there was something that
I've heard Lavos could be a biblical reference.
Maybe. I'm trying to
remember what it was. It was there was a game theory episode about it. I generally don't like that channel, but that video was pretty decent, because it wasn't like one of those stupid conspiracy ones. It was actual looking for actual ties with things.
They had a different writing team that day.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I'd have to go through the game, which, that would be so terrible if I had to go through Chrono Trigger just to remember what names they had in the Japanese version. Since I'm one of those horrible people that I've never actually, I don't think I've ever actually played the Super Nintendo
Well, I
version.
think there was also a thing like, oh, Chrono is Jesus-like because there's a resurrection. It's a little bit of a stretch there, but
I do know that Suikoden, they censored that. They had people on crucifixes, and
Oh, well
They,
then.
they changed it in the American version, but I'm like, why is that offensive? Like, even the Bible makes it clear that when Jesus was crucified, there were two other people. There are just two other criminals there. So
Yeah,
why would I be offended by seeing this? Like, the kind of people that would get offended by that
probably
are
aren't even
the
playing the game in the first place.
yeah, and they're the so-called religious people that nobody likes, the kinds that say that they have a religion, but then they don't know anything about it. They
Right.
just say, "Well, I go to church every Sunday, and I don't know what they're talking about when I talk about that God stuff, but I'm there." Like those are the kinds of people that get offended by that, not the kind of people that have actually read it because they're like, okay, yeah, people were crucified. That was a normal form of capital punishment.
By the way, the reptites are the rulers of this world, and the filthy apes cannot win.
I was trying to think if there was a name change on that one. I mean, there is a name change on reptiles. They weren't called reptiles in the Japanese version, but they weren't called anything interesting. They were called Dinomen,
There we go.
and Azala was a girl, I guess.
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't think they really make that obvious in the U.S. version.
No, they don't. Um,
Even in
they
the
don't really.
updated translation, I don't think there's anything to indicate that.
Yeah, they don't really make it obvious, even in the Japanese.
Oh, okay. Where's...
I think there's like something very subtle that you have to pay attention to. I think it's the way that she talks. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, like the usage of pronoun or whatever.
Yeah,
Or
certain
first
pronoun, certain
person.
first person
Yeah.
pronoun. But they do like the whole like filthy apes thing. They do talk that way, where it's like, oh, the humans talk very primitively, but the reptiles talk very sophisticated. They have very sophisticated speech.
Right. Yeah, there's well, they even do that with with even in the Japanese version of Dragon Ball with Frieza and the Saiyans. Not the speech differences, but Frieza referring to them in derogatory manners.
Yeah, but he does have that whole in the Japanese that whole
Frieza's like
I'm
really super proper.
yeah very formal and all that. Whereas and then Goku sounds like a hick.
Yeah.
And because they even do that with versus Goku. It's he's very proper and definitely has manners and speaks very formally, even when talking during the martial arts tournament. When guys like, well, I want to see this Super Saiyan thing, he speaks very formally, whereas Goku's just like, yeah, go do this. And like, oh, where's that Kaioshin jerk or whatever. Which that's unfortunate because those are one of those things that just kind of get lost in translation, and in many cases it feels like it adds more to character development, but you can never really see it.
Apparently, in the Chrono fan, is that the is that the one that was supposed to be like the sequel to Chrono Trigger? It says all reptiles have become sterile due to the cold weather.
Man, if that happened, we would never have Chrono Cross, and I would be because how we got from reptiles to there are dragons now.
They evolved.
Sure. Now this isn't Pokemon.
Oh wait, do I have both pieces of the sword now? I think I did. Yeah, that's never mind. I'm obviously not paying attention to the story and just sort of autopiloting with all the different conversations going on.
Of this beautiful story of time travel and saving the world. Yeah, yeah. We get it, illiterate characters.
Repair my sword, old man. Have you played Xenoblade 2? I have not. Well, actually, I mean, I guess to say I haven't is semi-true, but also not. What I mean is, a friend of mine has it, and I played like 5 minutes of it. It doesn't seem like a bad game, but I would, I can't really give a review on that much gameplay.
I don't know if I will go back to that series. I did not enjoy the first one, so that didn't.
That
make
was
me
one
wanna
where it was
play.
like I really wanted to like it, and then I tried it out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
But
I-
that was on Wii, right? That started on Wii.
Yeah, that was on Wii, and it's on new 3DS.
The one that I did like was The Last Story, though. I think that's what it was called, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that.
I want.
I mean,
I
I-
do want to play that again.
I couldn't really get into any of the Xeno games. Xeno. Yeah. I didn't like how pretentious they got with the story in that game, but I did like the gameplay up until disc 2. and that's why I don't like Xenoblade Chronicles, because it's like I don't want to sit here and watch you jerk yourself off and play the game for me. I want to play the game myself, which is definitely disc 2 of Xenogears, but Xenoblade, I didn't like the passive battle system.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
didn't see
okay,
the beginning of Xenoblade 2. He was already a little bit into it, but it seemed all right. It didn't seem as I don't know. I guess the mood seemed a little bit different.
More polished than I guess the first one.
Yeah, I don't even know if there's I mean, because I haven't really played that much of the first one. I don't know if there's that much of a connection to the first one as far as like characters go and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if I mean I could play it if I want to get it, so there's always that option. But
the Mercenary Sagas Chronicle compilation is like $28 again on Amazon.
Which one? Is,
That's the Final
is that
Fantasy
strategy
Tactics
game?
like games, yeah. Those are pretty good. Alright, I think I will deliver the
package
sword to Frog, and then that will probably be it for this evening. We went from Super Berry Saturday to Super Berry Sunday during this stream.
Did you even get any actual super berries?
I don't think so. But I also wasn't... I forgot to leave the disclaimer that they don't notify me on the restream chat, so I kind of hope I didn't, just because I didn't address it. I'll have to write a letter of apology.
Yeah, you'll have to say you
disavow
now,
my former self.
You're now choosing to live as a literate man, or a literate man.
There we go.
I guess we don't have any more controversial questions to ask.
I guess not. Oh, there was the magic scarf. I don't know why I didn't grab that last time.
Here's another potentially controversial question. What is your thought, or what are your thoughts on turn-based battles?
Turn-based battles, huh? I actually want more of those because I feel like a lot of the RPGs are trying to go for that action feel. And it works for some games, but I kind of miss being in control of my whole party rather than having, like, you can choose one character to play at any time and the others are just AI.
I don't know where I am on that.
It just depends on the game. Like, it worked for... I had no problem with it at all in Tales of Berseria, but for something like Final Fantasy, I wouldn't want that.
I think in the case of something like Secret of Mana, I feel that it worked very well, but
oh yeah, that was good too.
A lot of other games, I would agree. I don't like that.
But then again, that is an action RPG, right? I mean,
yeah, it wasn't. Hey, let's make this action RPG after the fact. It's always been that way.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the the actual genre that was intended for the game, that's cool. But when it's when they think it's like an evolution of the series to go from turn-based to the new style, then it's kind of like I'm not sure if it's gonna work.
Well, there once again going back to game facts, there are definitely people that think that. They're like, well, Final Fantasy couldn't be anything else other than action RPG. That's the next logical progression.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like, even though it wasn't, a favorite by any means, I kind of feel like Final Fantasy X evolved the turn-based thing in a way that wasn't that bad, where you could like switch in, party members and stuff if you wanted.
Yeah, but Final Fantasy can't not reinvent the wheel, which then there's always that back and forth of, well, I don't like the Dragon Quest series because they don't change much.
They don't change. Yeah, I think at this point that's like a draw. You see the title, you know what to expect.
In the current year generation, yes, because I was,
and that's something that's kind of nice because you have all these other series that are kind of like, oh well, every game we have to reinvent ourselves. But sometimes you get it right, and then when you change from that, you go backwards. Even though the argument is like, oh, from a technological standpoint or a gameplay standpoint, this is deemed the superior method.
Yeah, they really did do that too much.
I just can't imagine, like, for example, I can't imagine the Final Fantasy VII remake being that action RPG battle system.
Even though that's what they want it to be,
yeah,
the remake.
I don't understand how that's really going to work in a way where it still feels like the same game.
And that game, well, there's so many other issues with that game that.
Yeah, I feel like they have a chance to, maybe improve upon certain story elements, but instead they're going for this, let's modernize the gameplay. I don't really know exactly what they're doing with the story, though, just because there's been so little information. But from what they've shown so far, it's been less. Seems like it's been less story information and more of, this is what the game is going to be like. There's going to be, we're going to do it episodic, where Midgar is going to be just one game or something like that. Like, right.
Because we all know how the episodic format worked out for the after years.
Can we just not do that? And that's going to be sort of, I don't know, sort of game breaking in a way, because part of the fun of even like older Final Fantasy games was sometimes going beyond where you were supposed to at that point in the game.
Yeah, I mean that was a big thing in Dragon Quest 2, going beyond where you were supposed to and getting killed.
Yeah, there was sort of like a level of excitement if you could survive to the next town where you're not supposed to be.
And well, they ruined that with just making it linear with like 10, so you couldn't even venture out that much.
Yeah. I mean, they got rid of world maps pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was a mistake.
That seemed to be a trend in PS2 era, because Suikoden 2 or 3 didn't have world maps either. It just, you had dots on a screen that you went to.
Oh, I have to bring them back to get magic.
And then in order to replace what you lost from not having random battles, they would, some of the places you traveled to were like fields, and you had to go through them in order to, so that you could get into fights, basically.
You know, I will say this is one it's a nitpick, but it is one tiny obnoxious part about this is when you get Frog back, you have to bring him to Specchio to get magic, even though you just came here to go to the Magus Palace.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at least you have to fight him, but it is an unnecessary step that they could have improved in re-releases.
I mean, you could go without water, but you probably shouldn't do that if you want to learn the other skills.
It's not like we need water to live here.
I don't even think I can beat this form of him right now. All they had to do was copy Final Fantasy VII with next-gen graphics, give the characters some more unique traits, and they can even change some story, and it'd be a hit. Probably.
Yeah, and retcon some of those contemptible additions they made to the story.
Well, I guess I wonder how they would address, or if they would address Crisis Core.
I imagine that they would, but I just didn't like how they were like, oh, Sephiroth was a normal guy back then, and he was a normal teenage boy. And that doesn't really mesh.
In a whole world of trouble.
Doesn't really mesh well with the Sephiroth of the game.
I'm trying to remember what he was like in Crisis Core.
I think they made him seem. I think they made him seem like he was just an ordinary guy. Would work if it weren't for the fact that the whole basis of Final Fantasy VII is that he basically has a BSOD moment and loses his mind. It's like, oh, before that he was just an ordinary teenage boy who know what to identify as.
He should just watch the video.
Yeah, that'll fix everybody. And the funny thing is, for a while, it wasn't working.
I guess we get the cool cutscene of cutting the mountain in half, so there's that for this version.
Yeah. And impaling the, oh, never mind, wrong game. Yeah. That was a nice addition that I never got to see. Did you ever count how many monsters are in Magus's castle? Because I
feel like I did once, but I just don't remember. Because I was trying to figure out the way they worded it. I was trying to figure out if they meant that there were 100 encounters or 100 actual monsters, like individual monsters.
I don't think that there are 100 individual. I think I got close to it, but I don't think there actually are that many. But I remember every time if it was either me or one of us would count, and I keep losing count. I'm like, yeah, I don't think they got to 100. Either they got over 100 or underneath it.
It's one of those things where you got to pull out the old pen and paper and write it down like in the old days.
Yeah, and I'm like, if it has to go through that, I'm probably not gonna do it.
I did that for the Game Boy Advance version of Final Fantasy IV because there's this. It's in one of the lunar dungeons for one of the characters where, you know how there's the chocobos, pigs, and toads.
Yeah.
There's one where you have to count how many of them walk by or something. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna even bother trying to remember this off the top of my head, so I'll just mark it down as they go.
Yeah, didn't you do that in your when you streamed the PSP version? You're like, yeah, I'm not gonna just memorize this. I'm just gonna write it down.
I might have, yeah. I don't know if it was that particular mini game, but there was something.
Oh, I feel like you did do that actual mini game when you.
Oh, maybe. I know that last time I played Chrono Trigger on stream, I wrote down what the combinations were for the petals and fangs and stuff. But I don't have the piece of paper in front of me. I don't know where it went. That was a while ago. Oh, does the game black out when cutscenes come up? That's what's messing it up. For some reason... Oh, that's obnoxious. So OBS cuts out the cutscenes.
I think that happened last time.
Yeah, it did. That must have been what screwed it up. Well, I'll just skip it then since nobody else can watch it.
An enemy named Dead Pecker.
Nothing weird about that.
I'm gonna assume that the Japanese here are very anti-circumcision.
Kanan finished the TMNT game. He said shorter than what I remember.
Oh, it wasn't just a green screen all day?
Oh, did I miss something?
He put a snapshot of it on Discord, and it was basically just some turtle heads and a green screen. In the sense that this is what you get when you play.
I had to take some time to recover from that Blair White imagery.
You had to recover from white imagery? What, some coal miners or something?
I know the Blair White thing with the hair. Yeah.
I feel like she's only doing any of this because she's not relevant anymore.
It's not true. It's just a clickbait.
I know, I know, but
I know what you're saying.
The reason she's doing clickbait, I feel, is because she's not relevant. And
yeah, probably. I mean, I don't follow really anything. The only reason I saw that, even before Keenan posted it, the only reason I saw that was because Brittany Venti took a screenshot and posted it on Twitter. And I was like, yeah, that's gotta be bullshit.
yeah,
Basically what the topic was is that people have been accusing her of being an SJW or something, and the whole
it's kind of like that video she had where I'm gonna pretend to live as a man or something. It's like
detransitioning or some shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was that too. Though that was an entirely separate one because I know what you're talking about. A boy for a day or something.
Yeah.
So you're going backwards now.
Yeah, I only reason I even here is just because I wanted to go to the comment section to see if somebody was gonna put that.
Oh, he said he had to turn off the fog.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Wait, I just need something that hits everybody. Where's the napalm? That's one of my favorite skills.
Falcon hit would be mine.
That one's a good one too, yeah. I think I probably used that as far as dual techs go, that's probably one of the ones I use the most.
Well, I do like using Ayla a lot.
Yeah, my usual party is Chrono, Frog, and Ayla. Sometimes I do like to, switch up and try to put Magus in there, but he's not really compatible with any of the other characters as far as techs go. Unless you do the triple tech, the rock thing.
Yeah, I try to use them a lot when I first played it, because I was like, they made such a big deal about them. But then
once you get him past just having the 3 elemental spells, it gets better, but...
Well, that's what I did. I used most of the shadow spells. And
yeah, I like the Shadow Bomb one. Just even though it's not that powerful, I like the effect of it, the way the spell looks. Alright, well, I've reached the Magus Castle. I think this is going to be for next time around, though, because it's longer as far as the dungeons go. Not in the sense that there's a lot of rooms, but just the encounters over and over.
Yeah, they're pretty much choreographed encounters.
Yep. Alright, thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you next stream with more controversial topics like tank controls.